어때, 차이나?
A ver. Hey, you're in the wrong place.
Oh, actually, I'm not.
Get the out of here.
We open on a woman named Riley inside a parked car, pinning a grown man down with terrifying ease. She presses a gun into his throat and asks him one simple question. Does he remember who she is? He doesn't get the chance to answer before she pulls the trigger. After that brutal opening kill, we cut to Riley cleaning up the scene like she's done it 100 times before. She drives back to a battered van tucked deep inside Skid Row, one of the roughest, most forgotten corners of Los Angeles, and starts patching herself up. While digging through her supplies, she pulls out a pack of peppermint cookies. It's such a small, ordinary thing, but it stops her cold. That one little detail yanks her straight back to the day her entire life was destroyed, exactly 5 years ago. We rewind to that morning. Riley is out running errands with her young daughter Carly when they get into it with a woman named Peg, a wealthy, entitled mom from Carly's school who's furious about a parking spot. Riley bites her tongue and drives off, choosing peace over pride for her daughter's sake. She drops Carly off with her husband Chris at his job and reminds him they still need to prep for Carly's birthday party. Then, Riley heads to her own job at a bank, where her boss punishes her for being a few minutes late by forcing her onto overtime, no exceptions. Meanwhile, Chris gets pulled aside by his buddy Mickey with an offer that could change everything. Mickey wants him to be the getaway driver on a heist targeting a drug cartel, dangling it as the one shot they'll ever get to actually get ahead. Chris doesn't say yes, but he doesn't say no either. He just says he needs time to think. That evening, the family's world gets a gut punch nobody saw coming. Carly's birthday party is a disaster. Not one single classmate shows up. It turns out Peg deliberately ruined the whole thing by throwing a competing Christmas party and inviting the entire class to it instead. Carly is heartbroken, telling her parents flat out that her birthday sucks.
Told you. You should have punched our lights out.
We don't need them anyway. It's your birthday.
Birthday sucks.
Carly, language.
It does.
Riley refuses to let the day end like that. She promises her daughter they'll make their own celebration, just the three of them, at the local Christmas carnival, rides and ice cream and everything Carly loves. Before they leave the house, Chris quietly calls Mickey and leaves a voicemail turning the offer down flat, saying he wants to stay clean for his family's sake.
I'm out. I'm not risking it. It's not worth it, man. All right, listen, I'm sorry.
It's a small, decent choice. It's also the choice that's about to get him killed anyway, because unknown to Chris, a cartel scout has already been watching the house, and he immediately calls it in to his boss. Mickey, it turns out, has already been captured. Cartel kingpin Diego Garcia has him tied up and is torturing him for information, convinced Chris is already in on the robbery. Garcia doesn't wait for confirmation. He orders his men to eliminate Chris on sight, then finishes his interrogation of Mickey in the most brutal way possible.
Right? Puto!
Chris's decision to walk away never even reaches the people who needed to hear it. At the carnival, everything looks perfect. Rides, laughter, photos, ice cream cones. A family completely unaware they're being hunted. 3 of Garcia's hitmen are parked nearby, just waiting for the right moment. That moment comes the instant Riley steps away from the car to grab some napkins. The gunmen roll up and unleash a wall of bullets. By the time Riley sprints back, it's already over. Chris and Carly are gone, and she's been hit too, though her wounds are far less severe than theirs. She collapses close her family's bodies, and when police arrive, a young detective named Michael Carmichael is visibly shaken by the sight of a murdered child. His partner, a hardened veteran named Moises, tells him to hold it together because the job isn't done yet. Riley wakes up in a hospital bed with a serious head wound. Carmichael delivers the news that 3 suspects matching the shooter's description are already in custody, and that they found Chris's voicemail proving he'd turned Mickey down. It didn't matter. The message never reached Garcia in time, and without solid evidence or an eyewitness, there's nothing they can do to touch him directly. He hands Riley a bag with her family's blood-stained photographs. Looking at them jogs something loose in her memory, and she tells him with complete certainty that she can identify the men who did this. At the police lineup, Riley picks out all 3 men without a second of hesitation. Strangely, Carmichael pushes back, asking if she's really sure. It's the first small sign that something about this case isn't as straightforward as it should be. Time passes, and Riley's world keeps collapsing. She's behind on rent and getting evicted when a slick, well-dressed defense attorney shows up uninvited. He tells her, almost casually, that nothing is going to bring her family back, then hands her a bag stuffed with cash to make the charges disappear. She throws him out. The preliminary hearing is where the real gut punch lands. That same attorney tears her identification apart in front of the judge, hammering on the distance, the darkness, and the fact that the getaway car never even stopped moving. What Riley doesn't know is that the judge, the prosecutor, and even her own lawyer have all been bought off long before she ever took the stand. The case gets thrown out. The three men who murdered her family walk free in front of her. Riley completely loses control, lunging at them right there in the courtroom.
These men killed my family.
You
this
are
guy showed up in my...
excused.
I am not finished.
You are Mrs. North.
No, I am not
Mrs.
done.
North, excused.
They are
Mrs.
killers.
North.
They're killers. Get away from me.
And she's dragged out and loaded into an ambulance headed for a psychiatric hold. She fights her way free before it even arrives and disappears into the city. Carmichael and Moises later visit her family's graves and find fresh blood smeared across the headstone. It's Riley's own blood, left behind like a signature, a promise that this isn't over. The story jumps forward 5 years, landing right back at that same carnival, where Carmichael and Moises are staring at a nightmare. The three men who walked free for killing Riley's family have been executed and strung up high on the Ferris wheel, in the exact same spot where it all began. Over at the FBI, an agent named Lisa Inman gets briefed on Riley's file and agrees to team up with LAPD to hunt her down. Meanwhile, Riley is holed up prepping an arsenal, staring at an old photo of her family before making her next move, breaking into the home of the corrupt judge who threw out her case and tying him down. Back at the briefing, Lisa lays out just how disciplined Riley has been. Right after vanishing, she robbed a huge amount of cash from the bank where she used to work, then spent 5 years training off the grid across multiple countries, completely untraceable. Now she's back in LA, and security footage just caught her stealing military-grade weapons from a hidden armory. Lisa drops one more detail that changes the whole tone of the room. Today is the exact 5-year anniversary of the murders. At the judge's house, Riley nails his hands to his own desk to keep him from moving, then rigs the whole place to blow using a bomb triggered remotely by phone. She calmly walks out, boards a public bus, and detonates it from her seat, leveling the house completely. Carmichael barely processes that news before getting hit with more. The cartel's own lawyer and Riley's former defense attorney have both just been assassinated. On the same day, the judge's house went up in flames. Every single person who helped set her family's killers free is now dead within hours of each other. Garcia's enforcer, Cortez, briefs him on the scale of what's happening, and Garcia responds by putting a massive bounty on Riley's head. She's stopped being an afterthought and become his biggest problem.
What the fuck was this?
Like 5 years ago.
Go and get Jessica out of the car. Bring her in with a couple of drinks. Put a paycheck on her head. Call it a day.
Still riding that same bus, Riley notices a young boy who reminds her painfully of Carly. She softens for a second, gives him a small toy, and learns his father is a severe alcoholic who he has to babysit just to get home safely. When the man drags his son into a store to buy more liquor, Riley follows and attacks him right in the aisle, memorizing his address and warning him to actually be a father, or she'll be back. She also tells the clerk to never sell to him again, and pays cash on the spot for the clerk's own car. Now mobile, Riley stakes out a busy market and spots Marvin, Garcia's personal accountant, someone who knows every detail of the operation. Disguised as a homeless woman, she slips past armed guards, drops them without much effort, and finds her way into the cartel's money-counting room. Inside, the guards are literally watching a news report warning the public about her while she's standing right behind them. A gunfight erupts once she's spotted, and Riley tears through wave after wave of cartel muscle with brutal efficiency, clearing the entire building floor by floor. She leaves exactly one person breathing, Marvin, because she still needs answers out of him. Later, a shaking Marvin reports back to Garcia that Riley tortured every operational secret out of him. And here's the twist. She didn't steal a single dollar of the cartel's money. She burned it all to ash, right in front of everyone. As news spreads about the burning cartel fronts, Carmichael tells Moises he's going to reach out to narcotics for a list of Garcia's remaining safe houses so they can finally get ahead of Riley. Moises, visibly on edge, warns him to be extremely careful who he asks, because one wrong question to the wrong cop could get him killed. Cornered, Garcia retreats to his most heavily fortified compound and sets up a trap at one of his distribution warehouses, banking on Riley walking right into it, and she does. That night, she slips inside, has a brief, aching hallucination of Carly smiling at her, and pushes forward anyway. The warehouse is completely empty, too empty. She spots a tripwire, rigged to a massive explosive, just seconds before Garcia's men outside trigger it remotely, and the entire building goes up in a fireball behind her. Garcia's men drive off convinced she's finally dead, and Garcia practically celebrates the news. But down in the wreckage, a manhole cover shifts, and a bruised, bloodied, very much alive Riley crawls out of the sewer system. She immediately steals a car and starts hunting the 2 hitmen who just left her for dead. While all this is happening, Agent Inman starts digging into crime statistics and finds something bizarre. One of the most dangerous stretches of Skid Row hasn't recorded a single violent crime in 3 months straight. When she walks through in person, she sees kids playing safely in the open, and a local tells her they've got a guardian angel watching over them now. She looks up and finds a massive mural spray painted on a nearby wall, a woman with angel wings. It's Riley. Somewhere in the middle of her war against a cartel, she's quietly become a protector to the people the rest of the city forgot about. Back on the road, Riley catches up to the 2 hitmen and forces their car straight to Garcia's mansion. She takes out the perimeter guards, executes the hitmen one by one, and when the shooting draws Garcia and Cortez's attention, she rams straight through the front of the house to get to them. She fights her way through hallway after hallway of security and finally corners Garcia alone in his private safe room, gun raised and ready to finish this. Then, his young daughter runs into the room, and the sight of a little girl in danger triggers another flash of Carly in Riley's mind. That split second of hesitation is all Garcia needs. He stabs her with a hidden blade and escapes with his daughter as sirens close in and force his men to scatter. Bleeding badly, Riley slips away before police can lock down the area. She drives straight to Peg's house. The woman who sabotaged Carly's birthday 5 years ago ties her to a chair and threatens to blow the whole place up with her still in it. Then she calmly says she's just kidding, takes Peg's car keys, and walks out, leaving her shaken but completely unharmed.
This is not gonna bring her back.
Don't say my daughter's name.
Okay, you're gonna go to jail for a very long time. You don't want to be doing this.
I'm going to burn your house down now, Peg.
Get back here, Riley!
Stop squealing, Peg. Just kidding.
Back at the mansion, forensics are combing through the wreckage while Moises realizes he can't reach Carmichael anywhere. In reality, Carmichael is with Agent Inman, who's just discovered Riley's weapons van and is convinced Garcia has a mole somewhere inside the department feeding him information. She's right, she just doesn't know she's looking directly at him. The moment Inman gets close to the truth, Carmichael pulls his weapon, tells her sorry, and shot her without hesitation, then immediately tips Garcia off to Riley's likely location. Weak and losing blood fast, Riley is barely standing when Garcia's entire crew descends on her hideout. A hallucination of Carly urging her to keep fighting snaps her back into focus.
You have to wake up now.
And when a cartel thug stumbles onto her trail, she crushes him with a dropped crate before he can call it in. She grabs his radio, listens in on their search pattern, and rigs a hidden grenade that takes out Cortez and several of his men the moment they walk into it. Over the same radio, she sends Garcia a blunt warning: bring himself to her, or she's coming for every single one of his men. Garcia snarls back that she's outnumbered and finished. Back at headquarters, Moises can't reach Lisa or Carmichael and starts putting the pieces together that something is badly wrong. Riley, meanwhile, finds Lisa's body dumped in a dumpster and takes her phone, and it gives her one final move. She goes live on that phone, broadcasting straight to the news feeds watching the city. She names Carmichael as Garcia's inside man and gives out their exact location, calling on every honest officer left in the department to come finish this. Garcia responds by grabbing a young girl from the crowd as a human shield. When Carmichael tries to talk him down, Garcia turns his own gun on his mole, done playing nice with anyone. To save the girl, Riley steps out of hiding, drops her weapons, and surrenders completely. Garcia lets the girl go and turns his full fury on Riley instead, beating her savagely and refusing to just kill her quickly, wanting her to suffer the way he thinks she deserves. Carmichael, sensing the police are closing in, begs him to finish it fast, but Garcia's pride won't let him. Just as Garcia raises his gun for the final shot, Riley spots a weapon within reach on the ground, and at that exact second, SWAT floods the street. Garcia, convinced this was a setup, turns and shoots Carmichael dead on the spot before bolting into the chaos. Garcia sprints for his life as officers swarm the block, but Riley cuts him off in a narrow alley and pins him at gunpoint. Moises arrives seconds later, screaming at her to stand down and let the department handle it from here. After everything the system already took from her once, Riley isn't handing this moment to anyone. She looks Garcia dead in the eyes and pulls the trigger, ending him right there.
We're not going to prison.
Officers open fire on reflex, clipping her shoulder, before Moises orders everyone to hold. When they finally move in through the smoke, there's nothing left to find. Riley has slipped away again, and even a helicopter sweeping the block with a searchlight can't pick up her trail. Moises doesn't bother setting a perimeter. He already knows exactly where she's going. The next morning, a battered, half-conscious Riley is kneeling in front of her husband and daughter's graves, whispering that it's finally over. Moises finds her there and quietly sits with her instead of calling it in right away. She begs him to just let her bleed out so she can be with her family again. He refuses, telling her flatly that her story doesn't get to end in that graveyard. Not long after, the news announces Riley North's capture, with officials promising she'll answer fully for every life she took. In a hospital room, a handcuffed Riley recovers from her wounds, while Moises comes to see her one last time. He quietly thanks her, acknowledging that she brought down one of the biggest cartels in the country and exposed the rot hiding inside his own department. As he says goodbye and shakes her hand, the camera lingers just a little too long on her palm. Tucked inside it is the key to her own handcuffs, slipped there by Moises without a single word.